Bolivian food is hard to come by in New York City. There are only a few Bolivian restaurants in the entire city, one being Bolivian Llama Party, which is best known for its salteñas. These savory pastries are sort of a crossover of a soup dumpling and an empanada, and are as complex as they are delicious.
For Bolivian, salteñas are really like a magical thing to get.
It takes us 3 days to make a salteña. There's a gelatinized filling. The dough is very temperature sensitive. The filling is very multi-layered. It takes 12 hours to make. There's a hand braiding element.
But in order to try salteñas in Manhattan, you have to go underground. Hey you guys, it's Rose here, and I'm on my way to Bolivian Llama Party, which is one of New York City's best Bolivian restaurants. That's actually located in New York City's Columbus Circle subway station. Founded in 2012, Bolivian Llama Party was one of the first Bolivian restaurants to make its mark on New York City. That's what we're eating today.
We're actually the only Bolivian restaurant in Manhattan and in Brooklyn, so we are clearly the best.
The three brothers behind the business, Alex, Patrick, and David Oropesa, started selling their cuisine inside Manhattan's Columbus Circle subway station in 2016 as one of the original vendors in Turnstile Underground Market.
We're telling our story, and Alex was born in Bolivia, we were born here, but growing up as Bolivian Americans, we're seeking our own identity in the food, and that's what we're creating.
7 years after starting their business together, the Oropesa brothers are still coming up with new and inventive ways to make Bolivian food shine, even in one of the city's least glamorous destinations, the New York City subway. The Oropesa brothers have always used traditional Bolivian recipes and continue to make everything on their menu in-house. This includes braiding their salteñas by hand, which chef and co-owner Patrick does at their large-scale production facility in Queens nearly every single day. Making salteñas, which are sometimes called Bolivian soup dumplings, is a challenging and time-consuming process.
This hand has hand braided, take a guess, 1 million salteñas. We ran the numbers.
It's like the Thanos hand.
He braided 1 million salteñas with his hand.
Here's how he does it. First, the salteña filling, or jigote, is made from a base of chopped carrots, celery, and other aromatics, including white onions and ají mirasol chilies. A whole beef foot is then chopped up and added to thicken the filling. The filling simmers for up to 10 hours over low heat, which slowly builds layers of flavor within the dish. Making the salteña dough starts with 2 ingredients, bread flour and manteca, or shortening. Patrick incorporates shortening into the flour using a technique where he crumbles the shortening and mixes it into the flour with his hands. He continues mixing until small flakes appear in the mixture. Then, Patrick creates a dome in the flour and shortening mixture before gradually pouring in a blend of water, salt, cane sugar, and ground amarilla chile powder. The liquid gives the salteña dough a bit of flavor, as well as a bright yellow hue that darkens as the salteñas bake in the oven. Once the liquid is fully incorporated, Patrick kneads the dough lightly before rolling it out into a long strip. Patrick uses a bench scraper to cut the dough into small 3-inch pieces before squeezing each dough ball until all of the cracks are smoothed out. The dough balls are then flattened with a rolling pin. To fill the salteñas, Patrick takes the flattened dough ball in his hands before scooping the congealed filling into its center. He then places a quarter of a hard-boiled egg and a sprinkle of Bolivian oregano on top of the filling. Then, Patrick begins sealing the salteña, ensuring to press out all of the air from its center. Patrick braids the seam of the salteña to prevent the filling from spilling out as it bakes. Then, they're baked until golden brown. All right, so I have 2 salteñas in front of me, and this one is going to be a pork chop salteña, and then this one is a vegetarian salteña that's made with quinoa, some veggies, and they actually use agar-agar, which is a thickening agent made from red algae, and so they use that instead of the beef foot, which they use to kind of thicken up the other fillings and the other savory salteñas. So I'm really excited to give it a taste and see how it compares to the other salteñas. So let's go in. There it goes. I knew that was gonna happen. As you can see, I've made a little bit of a mess, and according to the brothers at Bolivian Llama Party, it's a sin to let even a drop of the filling go to waste. So clearly I don't know how to eat a salteña properly, but I'm really excited because I think Patrick is gonna sit down with me and teach me the proper way to eat the salteña.
You want to bite off the tip enough to make a little bit of a crevice in. I've got to go one more time.
Okay.
Now that you got a little bit of an opening, you can pour your yapo inside.
Okay.
Now this will be you can kind of control it to how spicy you want it. So if you want it just a little spicy, just a tiny bit, but if you want it really spicy, go ham. Drop it in very slowly. And what you want to do is do a little bit of a mix.
All right.
So at this point, it's going to be a combination of eating around and drinking the juice.
Okay.
So it's going to be kind of like, it's the ratio of doing both is the key to not having too much bread or too much juice.
I see.
That's the secret right there.
I see. It's really yummy. What's really interesting is the dough tastes a little bit like cornbread in a way. It has a little bit of sweetness to it that kind of reminds me of cornbread, but it also has a little bit of flavor from those amarilla chilies that they use, and that's also what gives the dough this amazing bright color. In addition to the salteñas, Bolivian Llama Party is also known for its chola sandwiches, specifically the smoked brisket chola. The brisket at Bolivian Llama Party is roasted for 11 hours in a spice rub that includes fennel, coriander, and the locoto pepper, which is a chili that's native to Bolivia and has a slightly fruity, albeit spicy flavor. Before assembling the sandwich, they grill the brisket in some oil to caramelize the meat. They top the brisket with chopped tomatoes, pickled red onions, pickled carrots, fresh cheese, and a sprinkle of cilantro. It's so good. There's all this richness and umami coming from the brisket. It's a little bit smoky, but has a little bit of sweetness to it from the carrot and from the pickled red onion. And what's nice about the toppings on the sandwich is that it really cuts through the richness of the meat. And so it's not overpowering. All the flavors really work well together. And it's just a delicious sandwich. I could eat this any day of the week. It's so good. So the next time you're riding on the subway in New York City, consider the eats you may pass along the way to your destination. And see for yourself all of the delicious dining options that exist underground.